Hello there, folks. Hey, this is Joe Azu here. Hey, this quick video today is going to talk about how you can use personalities to control the IP settings of the Ethernet port on a Redline device. This video is going out to my buddy Lance, who has a request that he's got a Redline screen. He's an OEM type customer, and he wants to either have a fixed IP address when it boots up, or would like to allow the customer to change that IP address or to put it in DHCP mode where it gets an IP address from the server there wherever his machine goes. So let me back up here. Over in the left in device configuration, let me slide up, let me move this down a little bit. By the way, I'm using a 9-inch, which has 2 Ethernet ports. And so Ethernet 1 is the one I'm going to focus on in this. Ethernet 2, I want you to see, has a fixed IP address here. So Ethernet 2 I'm going to use for the demo to see the thing, but Ethernet 1 is where I'm going to be doing all the changes. So on Ethernet 1 over here on the left, I want you to notice something here that in port mode, normally by default, you're going to have a, it'll probably say DHCP mode here by default. But notice something. As I hit these pull downs here in this little configuration, you see how it's got this number 1 here, number 2. Normally you don't see that here, and that's because prior to getting into this, over here, whoops, I wanted to go the other way. Over here on the left, if I slide down in my device configuration, come on down to the section called Device Personality and click on Settings. Now what I've done here is I've set up 4 personalities. One of them is going to be the IP mode, another one's going to be the IP address, the net one will be the net mask and the gateway. So notice something here. I'll show you something. I'll click this green pencil mark, and I basically typed in a tag name called IP mode, and then I put some notes down here that I got from that pull down for Ethernet 1. 0 is disabled, 1 is DHCP mode, 2 is manual, meaning you put IP address, and number 3 is some IEEE thing. I didn't put any key value, so I put these 4 in here. You know, by default, you can hit this green box, and you can put in, I'll just put something like this so you can see here, and notes, blah, 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 whatever, just so you see. So if I do that, boom, now I got a 4th, 5th one, no big deal. But I've got all these in here like this. Now I'm going to go back up here, and I'll go to Ethernet 1, and right here where it says regular, hit the pull down and choose custom. Once you select custom, you can hit the pull down here, and all of those personalities, which are over here, show up here. So I want to make the port mode here be IP mode. I want the IP address to be the IP address personality, net mask here, and the gateway here. I'm not doing anything as Joe's test. I just added that so you could see that on the fly. If I wanted to, I could put it here, but I'm not going to. Anyway, okay, so I got that. That is all good there. Let me go over here to data tags. I want you to see something here. I created a integer tag. I called it IP address. I set it up as retentive. And then on the format tab, go to the format tab. Don't forget on the format tab, hit the pick button here and declare that as an IP address. That way, when you put it as an IP address, Crimson will automatically set that up as that format, if you will. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so make sure all of these are set up as IP address. And then I created another tag here called IP status. Now notice, team, it's an integer, it's an X, and you notice it's yellow here because this guy I'm actually using over in the lower left of Crimson. If you go down to function and then expand or go down to system, sorry, expand the functions tree, come down here and expand the personality. There's a personality in here called get personality int. So this function here, I drug out here, and I want to use this function here, or I want to use this is the personality. So you got to manually type that name in. I don't think, can I do this? Well, I mean, it might let you go here and drag it in, but I typed it in as such. So that thing then, listen to this. That particular guy over here on the format tab, since it has 4 states, 0, 1, 2, and 3, I set it up as a multi-state here for the format. And then down here, I put in my 4 states, 0, 1, 2, 3. It's a multi-state. I put in the same declaration here that you would have saw back at the device configuration. That way, I can monitor and see that status on the screen. Okay, so that's covers that. Let's go over here to display pages. So on the display page, I went to the right side, data tags, and I dragged all of these guys out and made them data entry fields like that to allow the operator to change them. And then I also dragged out the IP status because I want to see if that changes. Now notice right now that here in Crimson, it says manual address. The reason it does that is because if I jump back to that tag, if you've been in my class, on the data tab here, you can always use the data simulate here. And if you look at the format, look here. You see, in my opinion, this field is the widest here. So I want to simulate this as a 2 so that I can make sure that I got that field big enough. So once I put a 2 in, then I can see on the screen, it takes up that. And this is just a quick, changes to 1, go back to here, click on the screen, bam, shows that way. So anyway, you can use simulate to make sure your field's big enough. Notice here, team, I got these 5 or 4 buttons, not 5, 4. I got 4 buttons here. This one here is disabled mode. So I'm just using over here in primitives. If you go into core primitives, slide all the way to the bottom, the second row from the bottom, middle column is a bevel button. I just dragged that out here. And what I did, let me go to the first one, properties. So the first guy, I put in the text disabled mode. If you want a line feed, you put a pipe character between them. And if I go to the action tab, so on the action tab, on the on released, here's what I did. I get the edit button here, and I'm going to set the personality to IP mode, and I want that to take on the property of number 0. And then after you do that, you have to call the commit personality. Now, the commit personality is this guy right here. You have to put a 1 in the field. The 0 doesn't do anything. Change that to 1, and that will cause the HMI to commit the changes and recycle file. You'll see. But while I'm in here, notice here, team, I always like to add the text here so it makes it easy for the next guy. So this, supposedly, when it's pressed, is going to set Ethernet 1 to disabled. Click OK. Click OK. Let's see. The next one says DHCP mode. So let's look at this guy here. Boom. So this guy says DHCP. So this one's going to put a 1 there, not a 0. See, it's going to put a 1 there. That's going to put that in DHCP mode. All right, that looks great. What about this guy here, manual mode? Let's look at it. So manual mode might be a little bit different here because manual mode, I am putting 2 in here, but I need to take those personalities and grab these tags and put them in there. So this function here takes those tags that are on the display page and puts them into the personalities. And then when that all gets done, once again, I'm going to commit the personality and reset the HMI. So it should take the manual IP address I put in. And then the last one here, just for giggles, I added this IEEE format. In the few years I've been working here, I've never used that mode, but that's number 3. There you go. All right, so one more thing I want to show you. I always use a function called getNetIP somewhere in my databases. I put it on a screen so that somehow I can tell what IP address the screen has, either via DHCP or the manual mode. So this function here is going to be found over in System, collapse this tree, expand the network tree, and there's a function here called getNetIP, this guy right here. Now, if you just drag that guy on the screen like so, that's all I did here. I want to show you something. Double click on that, and by default, if you go to the data tab, you see right here the 0. Listen, 0 and 1 is the Ethernet 1 interface. Number 2 would be Ethernet 2. And if you happen to have a DA70 or DA50, Ethernet 3 and 4 would be 3 and 4. Anyway, my point being is that 0 and 1 are the same. Number 2 is the second one. So let me get rid of this here. Look, if I go down to this one, watch. I'll double click here. You'll see it's Ethernet 1. And then this guy over here is Ethernet 2. And what I expect to happen back here on this. Ethernet 2 is fixed with this IP address. Everything I'm doing in this video is using Ethernet 1. Okay, so looks good. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Oh, and these personalities, by default, are included in the database. So I've already been playing with this, but I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go ahead and download this to the screen, and this pop-up comes up. I'm going to go ahead and override. That way I'm pushing the complete database, including any personality changes I did to it, down to that screen. All right, I'll come back to that section here in a second. Okay, let's go over and look at our screen here. Okay, so you can see right here that I must have been playing this earlier. It's currently disabled. Notice Ethernet 1 has no IP address. Ethernet 2 is the one I'm looking at. That's, you can see it here, but this is the one I want you to focus on. So let's say, for instance, team, that we want this thing to take on an IP address from my server. So if I click this button here, boom, it goes to DHCP mode. You can't see it, but the screen just rebooted. You see the X? Let me get some coffee now. That sounds like a good idea. That's some good coffee. Notice when I did that, this down here went from 000 no IP to the IP address. Now this is the IP address it's getting from the server here at my office. So let's go do something different. Let's go here and let's put in 192.168.1.10, for instance. And let's say our net mask, we want to be 10.20.30.40. I'm just playing with numbers. And here we'll put in, I don't know, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to do manual mode. I didn't put the other functions here, but we want to see at least this change. Ready? Let's see. Boom. Now it's going to manual IP address. Should be committing these, and then we're going to focus on this section down there. Look at that, team. There it is. Boom. Sweet. And if I go back to IEEE mode, which I'm not doing anything with here, but this comes up with some really strange number beyond my pay grade, but you'll see something here. So that works great. Now, the one thing that I was a little bit worried about on this is what happens when you cycle power. So let me put this into DHCP mode. Here we go. It should come back because this is the default IP address of my office network. Let's see what it does here. Boom, it's going to be requesting an IP address. Hopefully it's .61. There it is. Great. Now, I'm going to manually turn off the IP address and cycle power to it. I've got a different thing here in the background. So if I just move this guy over a little bit, and I'll go ahead and turn it off. Boom. By turning this off here, this relay went off. Oh, this is an old modular controller I'm using with a bunch of relays to turn all this stuff off. You can see that it's off. Now I'm going to go ahead and repower it back on. Click, the relay went back on. We should see this screen come back to life, and it should stay in the DHCP mode, the last mode that I left it in. Let's see, crossing my fingers, it's rebooting. Let's see what it does here, team. All righty, looks like power's coming up. Hey, there it is. It's up online. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, the important thing of this demo that I learned, in all honesty, is that when you set up these sections here, you need to make these custom, and you need to pick your personality here, and then you got to do the commit over here on the button. I'm back here. You really need to do this function here prior to you committing. So I guess I could have done this last, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, you want to commit these IP addresses to, or these IP settings to the personalities, and then do a reset. One more thing I want to show you, though, I said a little bit about earlier. Now that I've made these changes, and here it works great, every time I go to download to the screen, let's just move something. Move this here. Watch. Every time I go to download to the screen here, well, what did I do here? Did I change the IP address? Well, let me save it. Let me check my. Yeah, this should be all right. Okay. Oops. Hold on. Let me turn the phone off here. Oh, that's fantastic. How does one make the whole video? Really? Okay, hold on. Let me ping this. What happened here to my connection? All right, it's there. I can see it. Okay, all right. Here's what I was looking for. I don't know what happened to my, but when you go to download here, I can do leave, and that leaves the personality settings, and we'll accept that configuration. And now if I go back over here to my thing, just whatever, great. But if I go over here and do this link and exclude and do this pop-up, excluded items will be not downloaded again until you re-enable them by including them in the property. So I'll go ahead and do that. And all that really did, team, is over here, once this gets done, over here, all that really did is it went down here, and this normally is turned on by default. It turned that to no. So now, if I make changes to it on the fly, move this guy over here, for instance, that pesky pop-up is not going to come up anymore. So it kind of is a nice way. It prevents me from accidentally changing my personalities that I want to stay in that device. So anyway, pretty cool. If you want to copy this database, don't be afraid to send me an email and ask for this name here. I'll try to put that in the comments. That's what I'll save this as. But thanks a lot, folks. Have a great day. And if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Apparently, I don't ask people to subscribe. So subscribe, and you'll get updates. Hey, thanks a lot. Have a great day, folks. See y'all.